Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now I do all things crafty, but on today's video I'm going to show you how I made this cute kitchen towel. Now I just used a towel that I purchased off of Amazon, a sublimation print, and my heat press to make this. And if you don't have a heat press, if you have a Cricut Easy Press 2 or other handheld press that gets up to approximately 385 degrees or higher, then you'll be able to do this project. Here's most of the supplies that I'm going to use today. Here's a package of the towels that I ordered. I got these off of Amazon. They work really well, and even though they're made of polyester, they are very absorbent. I really like how these work. Now I'm going to put a link to this in the video description, so if you're interested in purchasing these, you can purchase them through the link. And when you do that, I get a small commission from that or a small referral fee, and I truly appreciate that. It helps support my channel. Then the design that I'm using is something that I threw together based upon a file that I downloaded from Creative Fabrica. The file that I downloaded had about 9 different things in it, and so I just kind of put them together, put some words under it. The words that I put are stand straight and tall like a sunflower. Now of course it looks muted right now because it's sublimation ink and it'll brighten up when you heat it. Also it's backwards because when you print a sublimation image you need to mirror it or you need to flip it horizontally. This is a pretty big piece of paper on a wide format printer. If you're using regular size sheets of paper, what I would do is I would spread these apart a little bit and then I would split the design where there's a lot of white. That way, if you don't line it up perfectly, it still looks really good. Then I'm also going to use some heat tape, a lint roller. I typically use the white butcher paper, but this is my last sheet, so I'm also using parchment paper today. Now at this time, we're going to go ahead and move over to the heat press. I'll show you how I prep my towel, how I prep my design, and then we'll press this image on the towel. Okay, now while my heating press is heating up, I want to show you how I get the design ready. When you're working with sublimation, sometimes there's some ink hidden on the sides or the top or the bottom, and you don't even notice it until it's too late. And so what I like to do is I like to tear around the outside of my design. Just being careful that I don't rip the actual design, and I tend to hold my hand down over it so that I don't. I'm going to rip all the way around this design. Now, in addition to getting excess ink off, when you do this, it makes the edges of the paper thinner, and that way you don't get that press line. Okay, so here's my towel, and I'm going to show you I've already done the other side. I was on a YouTube live with another YouTuber, and I did this side. Now, I didn't put any words with it, but on the side I'll show you tonight, I have that phrase that goes at the bottom. Now my pad has a little bit of sublimation ink on it, so I need to cover that up so that it doesn't transfer onto my project. Now there's 2 things I want to do to get this towel ready. First of all, I want to go ahead and remove any moisture that's in it. So with my towel, it's big enough that the edges are over the side of my press, and I have this edge over the back of my press. I like to do that because I don't want to make this any different texture or a different sheen. And so that's how I just eliminate that from happening. So I'm going to go ahead and push this in. Let me make sure none of that ink that was on my mat's showing. Then I'll go ahead and press this for just about 10 or 15 seconds just to get that moisture out. Now I'm going to let that cool down. Once it's cooled down, I'm going to use my lint roller and get any lint off this. Because even though I can't see anything with my eye, a lot of time there's these stray fibers on there. You add heat and they turn blue. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll this anywhere where there's going to be high heat. All right, so let me go ahead and flip this around. That way I can see where my design's going to go. And then I'm just going to pretty much center this design up. Now I want to see where the design starts and ends because my paper might not have been torn evenly. So I can kind of look at the edges of the words. And I think that looks pretty good. Then once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and just put maybe 3 or 4 pieces of tape on it to keep it in place. With sublimation, if this thing shifts while I'm adding heat to it, it'll cause it to be kind of blurry, and that's called ghosting. And it just really decreases the quality of what you're making. Okay, so with this heat press, I can just grab this pad, flip it on around. Again, I'm going to pull it over the back of the heat press. And making sure the sides of my towel are off the sides of the press. Okay. Now I'm pressing this at 385 for 50 seconds. Now I just about made a mistake. I want to go ahead and put this parchment paper down. That way, if any of the ink comes through the back of this paper, it protects my heat press. All right, let's see what we have. And you know what I'll do? I'll take this back over to the table. I think you'll be able to see it a little bit better there. Okay, y'all, I have not even peeked at this. I wanted to go ahead and reveal it so we could see it together. But look at that. That's gorgeous. Now I see one little problem. The little corner of my word stand didn't come out. I probably didn't have it under the press. So I'm going to fix that. And to do that, I'm just going to use my little mini press. So the tricky part is lining this up perfectly. You should not have to do this. I just wasn't very careful. I didn't check to make sure that my press covered the whole thing. Now I could have had the platen of the press kind of sideways because with it being a swing away it does that. But I think we'll make this look good. Okay, so I went ahead and I put my little mini easy press on high. And so I just need to make sure I press in the right place. I don't have a watch or my phone or anything in here, so I'm just going to try to count this out. All right, I'm just going to peek at this, but I can see it coming up through the paper, so I think it probably took pretty well. Okay, yeah, that looks fine. Now, I have a prior video where I compared heat tapes because I was using some heat tape that left a yellow stain on my material. So if you want to see that, check out my videos. The type of tape that you use really does matter if you want to keep from having problems like that arise. This is super cute. I think my mother-in-law is going to love this. She loves sunflowers. She loves motivational type things, so I think she'll love this as part of her Mother's Day present. Again, I will link to the file that I used to create this, and then for this, I used the font Bastion, and then I'll link to the towels, and then I will link to this brand of heat tape because I really do like it. It is not going to stain your items. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until my next video, bye-bye.